Hi, everybody. Welcome to Boulton from Boulton, the show where my brother Josh and I set each other up for lively hockey talk. But as regular listeners know, we've recently been having a great time inviting on special guests to bring us back to times and places we've long ago tread, offering their unique perspectives on the game we all love. Today, we welcome not precisely a teammate, yet a close and integral member of our Truro Jr. Bearcat family, the one who had to take care of all the boys, keeping us healthy and in working order, all the while gathering scandalous data from the inside. Talk about perspective. And beyond overseeing the health of a couple dozen junior-aged boys for 2 years, she also brings her experience to us as a hockey mom, watching her own son's journey from hockey tot to a World Junior gold medalist, and now elite Red Wings prospect. All right. It is our former trainer and friend, Sandra McIsaac. Great to see you here, Sandra. Thanks for taking the time for us.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Right on. Well, Sandra, so your name's different now. We know you as Sandra Barkhouse, but I gotta say, you look exactly the same. Wow, it's amazing.
Some days I don't feel the same, but yeah, thank you.
You can't be after all that and a couple kids and everything. We'll get into all that, but we got to get Josh turned on first here. Josh, what's going on there?
Nothing. Thanks for letting me in the interview.
You know, Sandra, I know you're retired from us, but I wonder if we can send you over to have a look at Josh's face there. Do you see what he's got going on there? And have you ever seen anything like that before from Josh?
Oh my. Josh was always getting bumped around.
Yes, I was going to say.
Things haven't changed, Josh.
No, that's for sure.
Yeah, I might have asked you if you've ever seen Josh without a fresh wound on his face. But anyway, so Sandra, we're going to start here. Maybe give us a brief history, just where you're from. How did you grow up? What were you into? And what was your connection to or interest in hockey growing up? Anything like that?
Well, I grew up in Truro, and so I was around hockey ever since I was little because my dad used to do the lines in hockey, and then he got involved with doing announcing and stuff. And I actually worked in the rink in the canteen when the senior Bearcats were playing, so I was always in the rink. And just so happened that I was teaching at the time, and I was toying with the idea of going to do like massage therapy or something along those lines. And then I found out that the Bearcats were looking for somebody to come on as their trainer. So, and then that's how it all started. So.
Wow. So when you got into massage therapy, did you have any idea that maybe I'd like to be in a hockey team, get in on a training?
No, not at the time. But afterwards, when I started with the team, I had the idea that might be what I might do, go some route like that. But then little Jared came along. So that kind of put a big halt on that. Uh-huh. And I just continued teaching. So.
Okay, yeah. Very good. So what do you remember about that, getting involved with the Bearcats? How did it come to you? Obviously, your father's involved. So how did you get to be the trainer? And what do you remember about any of that time? Yeah,
I had heard that they were looking for somebody. So I met with Steve Kroll, and I specifically remember like meeting with him. And, he's kind of, he's got that gruff growler, personality, I guess, if you will. And I remember him saying he met with me, and he said, "Now you have to know that these are like 16 to 19-year-olds." And I was like, I was probably 20, 22, maybe 23. And he said, "Now you can't have any relations with these boys." And I specifically remember that was the first thing that I remember him saying was like that, no, you can't, that can't be done or whatever. Mm-hmm. And anyway, I met with him and it went from there. So.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So I didn't, okay. So you were only that much. I mean, I guess that's 5 years older than some guys and a few than others. Because I was wondering how you felt you fit in. Because you weren't exactly like one of the older adults, but yet you weren't like an idiot kid like us. So how did you feel you fit in that way at all?
Well, I mean, it was very uncomfortable at first because one, I didn't know anybody other than, I had met Steve, but, and like I'm a woman and here's all these young boys and trying to build a rapport with them, because you have to work with them on a daily basis and stuff. And, after a little bit, I kind of felt like one of the team, but, then there were some guys that really, they were young enough that they didn't really want, you didn't have conversations with, whereas like somebody like Kurtz, I stood beside him on the bench. So him and I talked all the time. So, you
implying that he spent a lot of time on the bench, are you?
Oh no, I'm not getting out for another few minutes, Sandra. No.
I got a kick out of him talking about the time when he was the goaltender on your guys' last thing with him, and I laughed and I laughed and I laughed, because I remember that vividly, rushing out on the ice to see if Wilcox was okay, and he's like, I'm all right, Sandra. I'm all right. I just wanted to do that to Kurtz to freak him out. And of course, I'm coming back to the bench, busting a gut, trying not to laugh. And I remember going up to Kurtz and saying, he's fine. He just did that to get you upset. Yeah.
Well, apparently it worked, and I never knew that one. Like, how did we miss that? I mean, maybe I recall it's vaguely or something. Maybe it's somewhere back there. But, that's a beauty.
Yeah. There was lots of those.
Do you have any other than, how about that? What were some of your first impressions of some of the people and players in the organization? You're giving us Growler already, and then do you have any other memories of that at all? Or
one of my most vivid memories, and it's still to this day, every time I see the man, I crack up laughing, because I remember I'm sure it was probably our first game in Truro, or maybe we were on the road. I don't remember, but we're standing on the bench and Dons yells out, "Hit him with your purse." And I'll never forget that. And every time I see Dons, like I bump into him from time to time living in the city. And Jamie and I still talk about that, and me coming home and saying, "Dons, hit him with your purse."
Yeah, he had all those lines.
That's a classic Donsy chirp.
Here's one that's not as normal. Like, it's hit him with your purse is common, like that kind of stuff. Get to the gym. Randy Frame said he would say to players, like, get to the gym, and just, I remember this one time where the Ambers team came there, and I think Shane was the announcer or whatever. Anyway, the announcer guy was like, "And now welcome the Amherst Ramblers." And then Don's on the bench looking around. "Since when do we welcome people to our friggin' rink?"
Yes.
And he was just upset that they're getting welcomes, but that's the Dons.
Oh, anyway. Yeah.
Any other impressions from that first impression of anyone or whatever? Or
well, I remember like I said, the 16-year-old guys were really shy and quiet, and you really didn't have a whole lot of conversation with them. And the guys at first were again kind of standoffish with me, because I think I was a girl and they were guys. I don't know, but I mean, it was interesting. I had never been in like a hockey room, and I remember the first time I went in the team room, and then the smell of hockey gear, because I was never around hockey gear when I was growing up. So I just remember it being so bad. But once you're in it for a while, you get used to it, as you guys have over the years.
That's one of my favorite memories, is being the first one in the room after, say we play Saturday night and we have a Sunday off, then you come for Monday practice, and the gear's been in behind that locked door, just hanging in the room with the fans blowing for 2 days, and you're the first one to open that door. It's the most beautiful smell in the world. It's just home. I love it.
The best was Randy's white. At the beginning of the year, Randy had a white undergear, and he cut it off, I think at the shoulders and on the legs. And I remember by the end of the season, it was so yellow, like from all the hockey sweat and gear and whatnot. So
moms are all nodding across listening to this. Yes.
Yeah, it's not a nice it's not a nice odor. But I remember years after I was not with the team, and I remember being with the team, and I was so used to the smell, but I remember walking down the hallway when Jared was probably playing hockey and starting to stink as a little kid, and I remember walking by their room and thinking, oh my God, there's that smell that I hate.
Yeah.
Such an awful odor.
All right. Well, I never thought of that you wouldn't have known that smell. Yeah. You said you worked in the canteen growing up. You're smelling French fries and onion rings and vinegar and stuff at the rink. The beautiful smells of the rink.
Those are the good smells of the rink. Yeah. Rink fries, man. You can't beat them.
Now, how did you think of your own role, Sandra, out there? Like what was kind of, how did you define your own role? And, what was in it for you too, to be a trainer?
Well, I mean, I looked after the guys' injuries, like as much as I had the knowledge to do. And then the doctor obviously, did the bigger stuff. But, most of the guys were pretty receptive to me. I remember Kenny McPherson always talking about that Tiger Balm. You got to have that Tiger Balm. And if I didn't have the Tiger Balm in my bag, he would be like freaking out because there wasn't Tiger Balm to put on his sore back or whatever.
Yeah. I was telling Matt, you introduced me to Tiger Balm. I'd never heard of it before. And then I had back spasms and you put it on my back. It was the greatest. And I never went back.
Well, Kenny, Kenny made me a table for my living room, so we kind of reconnected that way. And when I went to pick up the table, he was talking about the old Tiger Balm, and anyway, it was funny to remember those kind of silly things. But
all right, what was your routine like at the rink? I guess on practice times, on game days or something, and then also just your general lifestyle too, living there as well. Anything to do with your routine during those couple of years?
You mean with hockey or outside of hockey or both?
Both. So within hockey, as a trainer with our team, like what is you're getting to the rink at whatever time, and you're doing what on practice days, and what are you doing on game days? I think this is interesting. From looking at it now, I'm like, what was it like for her to live at this time, and then also just being in the community as that. Like, how was your lifestyle there too, with fitting this into your life? Well,
I taught school, so I was substituting at that time. So, I was substituting, and then, you guys had practices in the evening. So I was usually there an hour or a little more before practice time, just if there was somebody who needed something taped or, something looked after. And I stayed there during the practice time. So sitting in the cold rink, I did afterwards as a mom. So, and just, I was there just in case, anybody got injured or things had to be dealt with that way. And then usually after practice I left, and same with the games. I'd be there for a little while afterwards if anybody needed treatment or anything after the games and stuff. So, but and I mean, that was mainly my role. I wasn't a doctor by any means, but I did treat some of the injuries that needed dealt with, before and after the practices and games. So,
sure. Wow. And what was it? What did you think, like going in? Why did you want to do that? Why did you want to take this role, this job?
Well, like I said, I had toyed with the idea of going on and doing, I took anatomy and I took, taping course when I was taking my degree, and that stuff kind of interests me. And then I had applied to go take massage therapy, and that was where I was going to go the following year, after when I met Jamie and of course got pregnant with Jared. That I put that off, but that's where I was headed at the time, and so that's kind of why I wanted to do it, because it gave me a little bit of experience, doing that kind of thing. And then, at the time I thought, well, it might lead to a job down the road, maybe, other than, because I wasn't teaching full time at the time. So it gave me a little bit of extra money as well, just for, working. So it was good.
Got it. All right. Perfect. I want to ask you about the home opener. I mean, I'm getting impressions. I'm still trying to piece together a full picture of what actually this was all about and how big it was. What do you remember anything about the home opener?
Well, I just remember, for Truro, it was exciting because here, the senior hockey team was, I think, on their way out, and this was new to Truro. So, my memory's not that great. So, but if my memory serves me correct, there, it was pretty packed and exciting. And for you guys, I mean, it was I think it was your guys' first time playing junior A, if I remember correctly, for a lot of the guys, maybe I don't know for sure, but
yeah.
And I think it was an exciting time, and I mean, it was a first for me. So I had never been with a hockey team before, other than just watching them. So I thought it was extremely exciting, just to be involved with that. And I think you guys were pretty pumped going out on the ice for warm up, and
oh man,
having a big crowd there, and I mean, I was excited for you guys. I think just because it was new to Truro for junior A, so.
Yeah, I felt the excitement of all that, and that just got you so pumped and amped. Yeah. I wondered, did you get to skate through the Bearcat, or have someone escort you, shuffled you through the Bearcat there? When the Bearcat head?
I don't remember. Probably. No, I think we were all on the bench. I just think we were on the bench.
I think usually the staff is on the bench when they announce.
Yeah.
They introduce the staff. I was just kidding. But how about this then? The dressing room. You mentioned the dressing room already and the smell, but just in general, what is other experience of the dressing room? How'd you navigate? It's a guy's dressing room, and you got to be in there, but yet you don't want to be in there. And then also other things. What are some other funny things that you remember about the room, the culture or the atmosphere in the room?
Well, I mean, again, I'm a woman going into a guy's dressing room, so I was very careful of when I went in the room, because, and that was another thing I think I remember Steve talking about when we were, meeting or something about the room, where I was a female. But I mean, I was very careful to navigate my way in there when, the guys, I didn't go in when they're all getting undressed or anything like that, just because that's kind of unprofessional, would be unprofessional on my part. But, I go in between periods just to make sure, everybody was, okay or whatever. And if somebody had a little bit of a bang up, you'd go in and make sure they were all right or whatever. But, and the guys, it's a typical dress room. The guys are all hooting and hollering in there and whatnot. So, I didn't go in the dressing room that often, just because, that's kind of your guys' place to do your thing. And, I'd go in when I had to, but.
Do you remember any of the terrible music we used to listen to?
Yes.
Songs?
Oh, yes. It was like, yeah, no, not my, I'm an 80s music person. So for me to listen to that stuff, it was just like, and I remember the same on the bus. It would be that headbanger loud music that you guys used to play. So.
Anything else on the bus that occurs to you? Obviously, bad music.
Well, I remember there was a pretty big group of guys that really enjoyed my chocolate chip cookies that I used to take on the bus. And they didn't last very long, usually, when I took them on there. So
yeah, you can't bring cookies onto a bus full of dudes and like young dudes and think they're gonna last at all.
I know.
But
there was two fights that we always had that I remember: the cookies, and then the packages of Hellman's mayo for the subs. If you didn't get a packet of that, it was a long sub eating journey for you.
Yes.
People poured those little packages. Oh.
Well, to this day, I really don't enjoy Subway, because every road trip we went on, it was Subway. Oh
no!
So I don't
ruin
eat Subway very often.
All right, then. What about what was your experience of Chevys? I mean, people have brought it up a couple times already. Like, did you ever, what do you remember about that? I'll just put it like that.
Well, I mean, Chevy's was its own little world. I mean, yes, I went dancing there. Yes. And I remember seeing some of you guys there, and it was like, okay, I shouldn't be here. And actually, I used to see students there too. Hi, Miss Barkhouse. How are you? And it's like, yeah.
Oh, no. Okay.
But no, it was an interesting place. Let's just put it that way.
All right. That's good. I get it. Now you mentioned, for example, Carter already. Was there anyone else who you would say you had a bit of a closer relationship to, you just talked to more often than anybody else that you recall?
Well, I mean, Kurtz, I stood down by the defense. So a lot of the defensive players I talked to more so than you guys, because you guys were always up to the other end. But Kurtz would come off the ice and then just stand down by me, and we used to talk all the time. So, I got to know Kurtz pretty good. And, I don't know, Andy Brown, he's another guy. Again, it was mostly the defense that I talked to during the games, because I was down at their end, right, most of the time. So, but I got along pretty well with all the guys. And again, the 16-year-old guys, again, were kind of quiet, like Robbie Sutherland. He never said much. And to this day, I don't think he says much still.
He never talked to me much.
He's a great guy, but he's pretty quiet. Mm-hmm. And like I said, some of the younger fellas, didn't talk a whole lot to me, just because I think, I was a lot older than they were. But it's funny, Dixon, he was always, he was the big wig on campus, being the captain and all. So, some of the guys you just, you had conversations with, and some of them you didn't. And I would say, probably Kurtz was the guy that I really, connected with the most. And I mean, I knew Randy, right? So, Randy would always have a conversation, and, the guys were all great. I got along with pretty well all of them. So I can't say there was one that I didn't get along with. So.
Yeah, that's my impression too, is just, we all just, get on with Sandra and have fun with you and all that. And just, but yet I just would have thought that, I just expected there'd be someone like an Andy Brown. I imagined being a little bit older D guy, just like maybe. And of course,
Kurtz. Oh yeah. Andy was a joker. He was always joking around. Right. So and it's funny, when we came back for the reunion and we all met up, I was like, he has not changed one bit. He's still that joker kind of, I'm going to have a lot of fun type of guy. And yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll ask you a bit about the reunion just a bit. I did want to wonder about just a couple of other things. One is a story. Do you recall me getting a concussion in Charlottetown? You told me the story about it, and it had a good punchline, and I've been telling it since then, because I know the first part, really? But you told me that. Yeah, so you don't recall this then?
You'll have to refresh my memory.
Well, I was hoping you were going to tell it, but I will give you the second part, and maybe you can come in. But so the first part of it, though, I would have had to tell you anyway. I was coming out of our end over the blue line in the neutral zone, made a diagonal pass, and just as I'm finishing off my pass, a guy comes and finishes me off at the shoulder, right across the chin, and I was gone. Now, in my experience, I've never been knocked out in a concussion, but my experience has always been that in about a second, an electrical charge or something, like a big buzz, goes up down to my toes, back to the top of my head, like up and down, right through me in about a second or half a second. So that happened as soon as I got hit it, boom, boom, and I was onto the ground. I was like, that's a concussion. And then I thought, I got to get out of here. Right. So I got to get out of here, and I skate to the bench. And then from there, that's where you took over. And I don't know if then you don't recall this then. So I remember sitting on the bench, sitting on like this table they had, and my feet are just dangling like I'm just some kid or something. And I remember I remember having an image of like Dougie talking to me, and then Ground was like, "What are you doing? Get going!" And he was just like, maybe joking with me and or seeing if I'm okay, I imagine. Anyway, the part of the story that you told me later is this. You said, so I remember I called you, Sandra. I go, I just want to let you know, I've had concussions a lot. I know what this is about. So just to save you, like, diagnosis and stuff, I definitely have a concussion. You should know. And you were like, all right. And then I was like, why are you looking at me so weird? And then I asked you, why are you looking? You said, you told me that 8 times.
Oh yeah. I don't remember that.
Yeah. You told me that. You told me that story back to me that I said that to you 8 times. And then that's why you were looking at me weird every time or the one time I told you that, you looked at me weird and I wondered why in my mind.
Oh yeah. Well, concussions are funny things. Like I I've had one in my life, and I'll tell you, it's not very pleasant, and it does weird things. I remember when I had mine, there was like the same person went that way, and she went that way too, right at the same time. So, you know, like, it's not, you know, you repeat yourself, you know, there's all kinds of things that, you know, you hear people do when they have concussions, but
yeah, some crazy stuff.
Yeah. Well, and especially if you had your bell rung more than once.
Yeah, that was not the first.
No.
All right, then. Do you remember any other like big injuries over time, or do you ever remember being scared at all? Like, oh my God, this guy.
Well, I remember, I think it was my second year that I was with the team, and it was a guy from Newfoundland. I think he was from Newfoundland. I remember it was over in Charlottetown, and I remember he got hit down in the corner, and he didn't get up, and I'm standing on the bench, and I'm like, is he going to get up? Is he going to get up? And then he didn't, and I remember running out onto the ice, and I get there, and he is out cold, and I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, like, because it's scary, because it's, you know, it's like, okay, he's one of my guys that I'm having to look after. And anyway, I remember being like terrified that, you know, something was more than just, you know, the head, you know, and you don't move them. And I remember they took him off on a stretcher. And I mean, that was probably one of the scariest times, that being a trainer, having to see one of the guys that you work with being, you know, taken off on a stretcher in an ambulance. And I remember he had a concussion afterward, from it, but I remember that probably was one of the scariest times that I can think of. That, you know,
you're not alone in that. I remember playing midget, and I got hit from behind by Mike McKay in Pictou, and I was right in front of our bench, and just boom, down on my belly. I wasn't sure if I could move. I wasn't sure what was going on just yet. And of course, we were close to the bench, so the trainer was very close to me, and I could hear them react to me going down. And then I heard her yell, "Oh my God, what do I do if he's not breathing?" And I'm thinking, I don't think I'm that bad, but should I be worried about how panicked our trainer is? But that's how you get in those moments. I understand the reaction totally. Yeah, so like that's scary. It's just crazy things can happen in hockey that look pretty scary from just viewing them. And maybe they don't feel as bad when you're receiving them, but for somebody watching the game, I'm sure, like, especially someone that needs to deal with that now, that's your job. That's,
well, I mean, you guys were like kind of like my kids, so it was like when one of you got hurt, you know, like it hurt me too. And I mean, it's scary. And I mean, going on to being a mom and having a kid playing hockey, and you know, you're just holding your breath every time, you know, one of you guys that goes into the boards really hard, and you're like, oh, they're okay. You know, like it's scary as a trainer, and then it was even more scarier as a mom. So
you were very good at it though, because I remember the time you introduced me to Tiger Bomb. I got hit by Ryan Dodge. It was in Truro behind our far net, and I remember trying to make it all the way back to our bench, and forget the back spasms. I didn't think I'd ever breathe again. I could not take a breath in, and I was laying on the bench going, this is it. I can't breathe. I will never breathe again. And I couldn't tell you that because I couldn't breathe. And you were just like so calm and soothing, and just waited out. And sure enough, I came back. Then I had to deal with my back problem. That really hurt a lot. And at least I could breathe again. And I remember being in that panic state going like, I have skated from the far end of the rink to the bench, and I'm laying here, and it seems like forever, and I still haven't taken a breath. And I can't tell anyone what's wrong with me. And you were just so good in that situation, and it really it got me through it. So I'll never forget that.
There you go.
And now I have a lifelong addiction to Tiger Bomb.
Yeah. And that was Ryan Dodge as Josh. Yeah, he's a little guy getting hit by. Good God. All right.
He felt so bad. He asked me about it later. He actually checked in on me because it was such a bad injury. So that you don't get the opponent do that too often.
No.
It wasn't his fault.
Sandra, I got another quick one for you on these Christmas t-shirts. Do you remember, we've been talking about them, where Steve handed out a Christmas party. We had the Bearcat on the front and some expression on the back. Did you get one of those? Do you recall what yours said?
I don't remember. I remember him giving them out. And I don't know. I'm sure I got one, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
That's all right.
That was a long time ago, Matt. I
was taking a shot at a little fun because if you remember that, it's a funny one. But anyway, that's no problem. Now, what about this reunion? That was a little while ago, and I gotta say, I find it so funny that I mentioned if you have any photos of anything that can help us, enhance the podcast a bit, and you sent me like 30 photos of this reunion, and I thought, of course, like you get someone like Framer, he like set up he was like organized the thing and everything, but to get any photos, I had to Google it and grab a couple of sketchy photos, and of course you give me the whole thing, and I just thought, of course, you mentioned being like our mother or your kids. It's such a big sisterly, motherly thing. Like, I played a whole season of soccer, and one of the best gifts, my sister, our real big sister, gives me this laminated album of all the newspaper clippings of the whole thing in my university soccer career, and I was like, it's like one of the best things I ever got, best gifts. And we go on a trip, and guys are just doing their thing, and at the end my wife's like has these photos, and like, oh, these are so great, like the good thing you've recorded that. Of course, you idiots, like that's why. So it's like, of course you have all the nice photos, and I took time going through them one by one, and I was just like, wow, same.
Well, I didn't even send you them all. I have a lot more too, but I just tried to pick out the ones that quite a few of the guys were in the pictures, but they're good memories to have, and it was so nice, like I said, to see the guys that some of them. Well, I wouldn't have seen a lot of them. I wouldn't have seen since that first or second year. So yeah, it was kind of nice to see everybody.
Well, I enjoyed going through those. I just took some time on each one, and sometimes I was shocked too, like, what? Oh my, it's like that guy, and then next, and just enjoyed that very much. So thanks for those, and
you're welcome.
Yeah. Now, final thing here, you say that you met your husband. You got an interesting story there. Tell us about that.
Well, like I said, I used to stand at the defensive end, and Karts was always standing down there by me, and him and I were talking. We were in Amherst, and there was a stoppage in play, and my husband at the time was doing the lines in the game, and he come over and spoke, and I didn't know him from a hole in the ground. I didn't know he was from Truro. I didn't know, so I talked to him there like a couple times during the game, and then a year later, so the second year I was with the team, his brother was playing bantam hockey, and the bantams I think had a game or a practice before the junior A practice, and I was there, and he spoke. He was there with his mom and dad watching his little brother playing hockey, and anyway, we started talking, and after that, now we have 2 children, and we got married, and so our whole my life's been a lot of hockey, and and then with meeting Jamie, I used to go watch him referee, and then when Jared came along and he started playing hockey, so our whole family life has all been hockey. So,
well, that is something.
Yeah, that's how I met Jamie. So
there you go.
I seem to remember Jamie missing a few offsides in that game in Amherst. Now that you mentioned it,
yeah. So anyway, you got. Your family has started from taking that opportunity in Truro, and then it led you to this and led you to that, and here you are. So we arrive at your family now. You have a couple kids. It's Jordan and Jared. Is that right?
Yes. So Jordan's my daughter, and she's 15, and Jared, he's 20. So he's
20 now. All right. And how have you been enjoying motherhood for 20 years? And
it's been great. Like I said. Jordan, she's been involved with basketball, and of course I played basketball through high school and through college, so she's been playing basketball, so it's been kind of nice to get back involved with basketball, and I did some coaching with her for a little bit. So
nice.
And then Jared, he's involved with hockey since he was little, so we've been in and out, and Jordan has been drug into the rinks ever since she was a little baby. So we've been, she's a hockey sister, and, she's very proud of her big brother and all his accomplishments. And she's done well too. So it's been great being a mom.
Very good. So far then for Jordan, as far as hockey, she's got the good smells of the rink, or has she experienced that dressing room smell?
Oh no, she's experienced that yucky smell. She doesn't like it, same as me.
All right. Well, then how about Jared? What were some of some highlights watching Jared through his minor hockey career for you?
Well, he started minor hockey in Truro, so he played rep hockey pretty well all the way through, except for like the novice. They start at novice, whatever the novice. And he played novice advanced, I think, his second year, and then from then on he played on the rep team every year. And when Pee Wee, they went to Atlantics, which I think was we got to go to Newfoundland, and they lost in the finals in Atlantics. So that was kind of his first big trip away for hockey. And then Pee Wee, we ended up, he played Pee Wee his second year of Pee Wee, they beat Dartmouth in the finals. So that was
the Whalers.
exciting. Yes. So they were rivals pretty well all the way through. And then, as he got a little bit older, he got to play on the Canada Games team. So we got to go away. So that was kind of the start of us traveling the world with, watching our son. And then he got to play with Team Canada, I think 5 different times. So we got to travel a bit for that. So it was pretty good right up through until he played the World Juniors last year in the Czech Republic. So that was probably one of the most exciting times I've ever had with hockey. Just, just experience that. It was amazing. There was just so many Canadian people there. Like the rink was more Canadian people than there were people from the Czech Republic. So
that's how we do.
I was going to ask you a little more about that, because that's like such a, there's only so many families each year, and over time, not that many when you think about it, of all the families out there that can say they've experienced that. And, it's over the holidays and stuff too. That must be like a very strange way to spend your Christmas break. And then to be overseas at that too. That's a whole other ball game. So,
well, we left Christmas Day, I think, or Christmas Eve. I can't remember, one or the other. And so we had our Christmas, the day before. So it was kind of weird because it wasn't like Christmas time. And then we flew during Christmas. So, it was different not having a normal Christmas. And like the last 2 years, because he played with the World Junior team in Vancouver and then in the Czech Republic. So 2 years in a row, we didn't really have Christmas at home. So, but Hockey Canada is really good. They're a fantastic organization. They did something for the families for for the boys for Christmas, and it was a great experience to actually be a part of that Hockey Canada family. They're just a phenomenal organization. So
that's great to hear.
Yeah. So he was in 2 World Juniors. We said the one in Vancouver, right? And then the Czech Republic one. So you went to the Vancouver one too. Yes. So now the Vancouver one, that's what they got knocked out in the quarters, wasn't it?
Yes.
And so how was that? How does that disappointment run through you as a mom? Canada felt the heartache, but what about you? How did that feel?
Well, you feel for your kid, right? Because, he wanted to win a gold medal, right? And, to not even get in the medal round, being knocked out, and it was very, very upsetting as a mom, because you feel for your kid, and then, you talk to him afterwards, and you can just see, how upset they are, and it's heart-wrenching because, you want your kid to win, but in the same sense, the following year, we go over there to the Czech Republic and, he wins a gold medal. So, it would have been nice to win it 2 years in a row, but, there's, when it happened, I remember sitting there and like the minute couldn't count down fast enough to end that game, and you're like, you're sitting on the edge of your seat, and a minute, is not that much time, but when you're wanting the game to get over, it's like, it seems like an eternity, as you guys probably know, because you've been in that situation many times, I'm sure. But, when they won, and I remember coming down into the stands, and he was on the ice, and he had the flag around him, and I could see him talking to one of his guys, and he's saying, "Where's my mom? Where's my dad?" Like trying to find us in the crowd, because the whole crowd is red, right? It's just a huge big sea of red. So like, you're not going to find, it'd be hard to find somebody in the crowd, but we come down, and he did spot us afterwards, and just the pure excitement in his face. And one of my favorite pictures of the whole tournament was he was on the bench at the end of the game, and he was the first person off the bench, and the play was down at the other end, and he come off of the bench, and he's the first guy going at the goalie. And it's like my favorite picture of all the pictures I took the whole time. Like, just,
At the buzzer gone?
So exciting. Yeah.
He's like, screw this. I'm getting out a second early. Plays down the other end. Who cares? He knows what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, wow. But what a thing to share as a family, right? Being there. I can only imagine. I don't have kids, right? Josh does, but just I've been a fan of stuff and had people I cared about and stuff be in things that I have no control over. But I can't quite imagine what it's like to be a parent in that time and just see the excitement.
And we've made such good friends through Hockey Canada. Like, we have friends that, they weren't at this one, but we still stay in touch with them that are from Ontario. Like, we've made some really, really nice friends with people. And actually, probably one of my favorite stories of that whole tournament was Jamie had gone down to get some refreshments, and he was down in the hallway, and this guy, he said, I forget exactly how it went, but he said to Jamie had his jersey on that said McIsaac on it. And this guy says, "Oh, that's my boy." And Jamie goes, "No, that's my boy." And he goes, "No, it's my boy." And Jamie's like, "No." And then he was like, "Oh, you're Jared McIsaac's dad." Anyway, his wife was a huge Jared fan, and they're actually from Halifax. So, like, here we are on the other side of the world, and we meet up with two people that are from Halifax. Anyway, we've stayed in touch with them, and actually we met some people along the way. There was a fella staying at our hotel. He was over there all by himself. He went over and didn't know anybody, and we've stayed in contact with him. And, so we've made some great friends, not only through Hockey Canada, but through hockey in general. Like,
there's something about hockey people, maybe something similar to the Canadian culture that, the stereotype of it, but just the, people all being friendly and getting on with everybody. It's like, you're a hockey person, you're okay, let's go. Right. You're across the world, and you just show up without anybody, and I'm going to meet someone, and you're going to, now you're going to be friends. This is what the hockey community is all about.
Yeah.
Do you have something, Josh, there? Look like you were okay.
Nope. Put me on the spot.
I'm misreading here.
I'm not the best color man in the league for nothing.
I wonder, I want to bring you forward in a sec, or not forward, back of it, but just back a little further, Sandra. I'm curious, just as from a mom's perspective, when did you have an idea that maybe my boy has a shot at a pro career? Like, was there a certain time that you figured that out?
No, but as a parent, you always want your kid to, be the best that they can be. And Jared was always pretty good with, all the kids that he played with. He played with some kids along the way, great kids and good hockey players. And, you hope your kid will go and do that. Back then, did I think that he would play with Hockey Canada 5 times and be drafted in the NHL and all that? No, I didn't think that at all. But, you hope that for your kid. But, when he started getting looked at when he was we moved down to the city his last year of Pee Wee. So he played a year of Bantam, and then they wanted him to play on the Canada Games team. So they gave him exceptional status to play major midget. And so he only played 1 year Bantam, and they were starting to look at him then, and it's kind of like, well, maybe he might have a chance to play major junior. And then because he played in Cole Harbour, the Mooseheads were always there looking at players, and some of the other major junior teams, scouts were always in the stands and stuff, and not only looking at Jared, but looking at other kids as well. And then when he got drafted to the Mooseheads, I was like, oh, okay, well, he's playing at elite level, so you kind of hope that he'll and then when he got drafted to Detroit, it was just like, okay, he's on his way to hopefully playing in the NHL someday. But way back then, I never thought that. You hope your kid's gonna get there, but it's a very few kids that get to that level. Exactly. So you hope that your kid will, but I never thought that this would be where he'd be today. But
okay, that is what I was driving at. Just the idea, is it because parents might have an idea that their kid is or not, but would you really know? And you didn't even know. And this is someone who's a very exceptional player. Looks like he's got a very elite prospect in the NHL here, right? So you think, they must have known when he was 17, and that's not even the case, right? Necessarily. Well, he has a chance, but
there's always the chance, that your kid could do that. You hope, you hope that they do, but he was getting heavily looked at, so you kind of got it in the back of your mind. Well, if he's being looked at like that, then maybe. But,
how about the draft then for you, Sandra? How did that go for you?
It was so exciting. I mean, he was scheduled to go. They figured he'd go in the first round. So, you're sitting there up in the stands with all these parents, and, the camera's going over top of you the whole time. And, one gets drafted and the next one, and you're sitting there, and we were sitting there the whole Friday night. And at about 20, Jared said to his dad, he said, I don't think I'm going to go tonight. And, you hope that they go in the first round, and he was predicted to go in the first round. But, so, we waited Friday night, and then went back to the hotel, and then you have to get up in the morning and go back to the rink. And he went 36th overall. So he went very early in the second round. So we had only sat down a few minutes, and then he was right back up and gone. So, to go to Detroit, it's a great organization, and they're rebuilding, and they got probably the best GM in the business. And, so.
Yeah, they still exciting. Have. Yeah. I mean, it was Kenny.
Exciting times.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's right.
It was Kenny Holland drafted him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So right. You had him. Yeah. He was kind of the best GM, and then Stevie Y is the best GM. So
yeah, I mean, two fantastic GMs. So it's a great organization to go to. Jared's so excited to be part of the Red Wings organization. So
you better be. Yeah, come on.
And I'm sure you're excited too.
Oh man,
I'm just Wings fan that you are.
I'm all over it. I'm following big time, especially on top. Just the other connection, the hometown boy, it makes me extra excited because I'm just excited for all our prospects, and you want everybody to do well, but not everybody can. But we've got good hopes for Jared, and then again now the extra connection here. I just all the way for this guy. I just want him to be a big guy on our team for a while, and I just hope it works out. Because it's just my heart's in it, man. Oh God, the Red Wings. And and it's exciting things happening soon for them too, and he can be a big part of that, and that's something to do too, right? A big part of a rebuild. It's happening. Boy, I'll tell you, year and 2 years, like, and he's one of those pieces that we're looking at. So I'm like all like as if I'm in conversations with Stevie Y, but yeah.
Well, I'll tell you a little story about.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jared. Jared was. He was looking at his phone, and he had a conversation, and he said, "Mom, I'm putting Steve Eiserman's phone number in my phone." Like, he was, like, it's just, surreal, I guess is the word, he's like, "I'm putting Stevie Eiserman's phone number in my phone."
yeah, it was crazy when that happened to me back in the day in my dream. No, that is amazing. Another thing that's amazing is he's rocking the 14. What's that all about? That's a pretty good number.
Great number. It was his mom's number too. I wore 14 when I played basketball. So, and then
sweet.
His sister wears 14. So, but he doesn't think he's going to be able to get it in Detroit because, and even in Grand Rapids, because 14 is being used in both places. So, I think they gave him 41 in Grand Rapids right now. So
far.
Yes.
Okay, well,
it's 14 backwards.
Yeah, at the moment it's Robbie Fabry's got it, and he's kind of a pretty good sniper for us. So if it means Jared coming in and being comfortable, then I can maybe make a couple calls to Stevie Y, my boy, and just see what I can do. But I would really regret moving Robbie out because he's going to be a good piece too. So whatever we got to do, hope he can deal with it, with whatever number he gets. Okay, well. I got to say this on that to wrap that though. It's like the best of luck to him going forward, right? Obviously Detroit fans are waiting for him, right? Truronians, right? And Nova Scotians, Canadians, and hockey fans in general, all just wishing him and you guys all the best in that part. And, I know Jared's and I didn't mention, but Jared's injured at the moment. That's the big thing. And so how is that like from you? I mean, I'm not trying to get the insider from him, but just again, from your perspective, I'm really trying to focus on today. How's this been trying for you?
So he's recovering from shoulder surgery. So, and his shoulder recovery is going actually really, really well. Mm-hmm. And he's been skating and shooting and no slap shots or anything like that, but he's been working out on the ice, and he's been out with the team. He was out with the team in Detroit, and he's now in Grand Rapids. So he's going to be going out with them, and, hopefully it's not going to be too long before I forget what point he's at in his recovery, but it's a lengthy recovery, six months, I think, recovery. So he had his surgery in October. So, October. So he's coming along, and I think he's a little further ahead than he was the last, like with his other shoulder. So, he's doing well. So hopefully he'll be able to finish the year with getting to play this year. And if not, it'll be the start of next year. So he's pretty pumped. Sure. He's wanting to get back playing, being out for that length of time. And then, last year he missed a good chunk of the season as well because of his shoulder. So he's missed almost 2 seasons of hockey. So he's ready to get back playing. So
yeah, it's tough with limited experience in that, but I'll just say, Jared, be patient, son. You'll be fine. And we're all rooting for you, and he'll be fine. So it's he probably knows that. Obviously he's got the mentality, and that's why he's there. So but Mom, you too, be patient. He'll be all right. Hang in there.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, hope she knows.
I'm not worried about it. He'll be fine. So I just, it's been kind of weird, not because we spent the last 12 or more years being in the rink all the time. And like Jamie was saying today, we were talking to Jared, and he said it's weird not being able to watch him play hockey because we have for so long. So it's and I mean, COVID certainly hasn't helped anything with all of the shutdowns and everything. So
I was going to say,
unfortunately, he didn't get to finish out the year last year in Moncton. They had a terrific team, so he kind of missed out on that. So, but
well, we all saw that W Network Hallmark Christmas movie. What is it? Taking a Shot at Love, with the guy from the New York Rangers that he's injured and has to make the big comeback. That was the big Christmas movie this year. So based on that, we all know that hockey players will do anything to get back into the game. That's for sure. That was a beauty.
He was like, I'm playing at the World Juniors. He goes, I don't care. I'm going to work and I'm going to be back to play. And I mean, he did, 3 games he played, I think, before he went to the World Juniors. So yeah, it was exciting.
Are you talking about the guy in the Hallmark movie now, Sandra? Or you?
No.
Anyway, yeah, these references from Josh, but hey, okay, we all know. But anyway, that stuff, man, that's all great. So all the best in all that, guys. I guess I want to bring you now, Sandra, to a little bit of, like, we're already having great fun on this show, and that's what we do, but it's a little segment that gives us a little extra fun. It's a segment we call one-timers on the show.
Okay.
And if you've seen it, you just want to set you up for some one-timers, some short answer questions. And in your case, I like to make it a little bit of a special start off to a special set of them, a little series of basically Bearcats superlatives. So I'll put out, which guy is the most this or that, and you can kind of name a name or names or whatever, however you want to answer it. And then we'll move into some typical one-timers.
Okay.
Are you ready? Are you ready to play?
I guess.
Yeah, you're like, I guess I have no choice. All right. Of the Bearcats that you knew, who was the funniest?
Who was the funniest? I'd probably say Andy Brown, because he was always a joker. So yeah, he was always joking around. So I would say Andy Brown probably.
Okay.
That I can remember anyway. Yeah.
Who was the toughest?
Who was the toughest? I'm going to say, I'd say Brooks. Brooks Van Tassel, I think, probably was pretty tough.
There you go.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to mess with him anyway.
Me neither. Who was most likely to steal tape?
Steal tape. Oh, God. Steal tape. Oh, my word. I wasn't in the dressing room that often, so
You're
I
right.
probably didn't see that. But I don't know. Josh Boulton, maybe? I don't know.
Wow. There you go. Yeah.
Taking a shot at
I think Josh would be the one to just reuse tape or something. Who had the worst suit?
The worst suit? Oh, Randy Frame by far. Oh, you mean suit?
Wearing he's coming to the ring.
You mean suit? Oh, coming to the ring. Oh, Lord.
Well, what did he have the worst? What kind of suit did he have the worst of?
His was his undergear that was always so gross.
Oh, I see that suit.
I was thinking you meant like suit under, I wasn't thinking dress suit. With the worst suit? I don't know. Because you guys were always there usually. Like I wouldn't see you maybe sometimes coming in the ring, so I probably wouldn't. Yeah, okay. I probably wouldn't.
Let's just say Randy Frame. Yeah.
We'll still say Randy.
Yeah, we're good.
Sure, why not? Maybe the most wrinkles would be Randy Frame.
Yeah.
Who would ask you for a sick note to miss school?
A sick note to miss school? I don't think anybody ever asked me.
But who might? I don't think it is. Yeah, who would?
Oh, who might? Oh, maybe Wilcox.
Yeah, that guy. Okay. Who was most likely to become mayor of Truro?
Mayor of Truro. Oh, definitely Randy Frame, of course, because he's from Brookfield. Why not?
It's a popular vote, did he? Which player were you least worried about when he said he was hurt? And which one were you most worried about when he said he was hurt?
Most worried about?
Yeah, like if it says he's hurt, you're kind of like, oh, this is real. And if some other guy says it and you're like...
Well, I mean... I'll say Anders Zuckerberg never complained about anything. So if he probably said that he was hurt, I'd probably say, yeah, he's hurt, because he never ever complained or
Right on.
Yeah.
Stoic. All right. Who would your husband say gave him the most lip or attitude for calls? Like who would he be most likely to tee up for a technical?
Oh, wow. I could ask him.
Okay. Who do you think would be most likely to give your husband lip? Give an official lip or attitude.
Well, I mean, Randy was always very, very loud at the officials. I don't know, Randy, maybe Dixon, because he, you know, I don't know.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
Who was the biggest Band-Aid? That is the player who got hurt the most.
Oh, like Ken McPherson always had something wrong with him, and yeah, he even commented on that when we were talking. He's like, you always had to get. I had something wrong with my back, or you know, whatever. But yeah, maybe him. Who else would have been? Oh, maybe Josh. You know, Josh always had some, you know, the sore ache in the back or something.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't say me, because I remember having a lot of things wrong, but then you ended up saying me anyway. It's fair. It's accurate.
Fair enough. Sandra, if you were in charge, like if you were a growler, who would you put on the ice in the final minute of a 1-goal game?
Oh my! Now there's a question. Well, Willie, of course, because he's the goalie.
I hope we have a goalie.
We have to have a goalie. Defense, I would say probably Andy Brown, and maybe who else? Andy, maybe Kurtz. You know, because Kurtzy was pretty defensive minded. So, and then of course you two turkeys would have to be there. You know, because you guys were the scorers of the team, two of the top scorers, I think, at the time. And who else? Who would be who played on the wing with you guys?
Well, Dougie would center us. Dougie Clark would center us. So there you go.
Dougie was the other one. Yeah.
Just keep that line out. All right.
Yep. Keep it the same.
Who would never see the ice in that situation?
Who would never see?
We're having fun with the boys here.
Oh, who would never see the ice? Let me see. Chris Pierce, because he was the backup goalie. He would never be there.
Well, Pierce, you're not getting the call, buddy. Last minute.
No.
That's a safe answer.
No, that's a good
That's a safe answer.
That's a good answer. Who would represent our team in a drinking competition? We had to send out a champion.
Oh, well, it'd have to be one of the older guys, because they were always the ones out at the bars and stuff. So, I don't know. I think Willie was a pretty good drinker, if I remember correctly. I don't know.
Hey.
I was never, like I said, I didn't go around you guys much when you were out at the bars, just because.
Right then.
Willie could handle himself. Yeah.
Okay, well,
What's
let's try
that,
it.
Josh?
Willie could handle himself with the alcohol.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, how about this? Which Bearcat, as you recall at that age, is your son most similar to?
Most similar to? Well, he's a defenseman, right? So he's very defensive minded. So I would say, you know, like maybe Kurtz, but he's very offensive minded too. So
and in character too. And in character, I mean, yeah, like I don't know Jared in that way. I know, and we all know him as a hockey player.
Jared has a very dry sense of humor. So, I mean, who was on the team that had a dry sense of humor? I don't know.
D Brown. Well, he's all range of humor, but I don't know. Yeah,
yeah, he is.
I can't. Okay, a dry sense of humor guy. We don't have one. You don't have a guy in particular. Is there any Bearcat you wish your son was a little more like?
A little more like. I don't know.
In character.
In character?
Yeah, I just mean in character. Maybe you think, you know, every mom wants to tell their son to pick his socks up a bit.
Oh, Jared's not a big joker, so he, you know, maybe if he had a little more jokiness to him, I don't know. Maybe Andy Brown, because Andy Brown was a big joker, and he still is. Right. So I don't know. I guess.
Okay, you could have just told us my son's perfect. Anyway,
have you ever said to Jared, "I wish you were more like," and then said the name?
Oh man, kids are always getting after their parents. Like, well, I can't, saying their friend's name. Like, look, he's always getting on time. What about you? Or whatever, just.
Not her boy.
Who would you be most horrified to learn your daughter was dating?
Oh my Lord. Well, my sister dated one of the teams, so
Yep.
Yeah. But have you heard of that guy? Oh,
most horrified.
yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe Dixon. I don't know.
I love it.
I love it. Okay. Where would you play in our roster? Like what position and who with?
Who would I play with?
Yeah, where would you slot in the lineup? Yeah.
I probably would be a defenseman, likely. So, and I, I don't know. Maybe Anders, maybe him and I could, hold up the blue line. I don't know.
Yeah, sounds pretty good. Yeah. Would you get power play time?
Probably not.
Okay. What was the worst movie you remember watching on the bus?
Seems to me we watched Rock'em Sock'em Hockey like every road trip. So, and then of course, as Jared played hockey and road trips, I only went on a few with him when in midget, but of course every team that you ever go with that's hockey always is playing those Rock'em Sock'em.
Okay.
Yeah.
Movie. So yeah, that would be.
Okay. Who is Sadie Lou?
Sadie Lou? Oh, that's my nickname.
On Facebook, I'm like, what's this Sadie Lou? And, it's Sandra Barkhouse is McIsaac.
When I was in high school and I played basketball, we had like different plays for different players on the team. And one of them was regular Sandra. So anyway, the coach one day said regular Sadie, and we did that play for me. And then he was like, I didn't say Sandra or something like that. And anyway, Sadie Lou stuck ever since. And Sadie, and my middle name is Louise. So I think it was my best friend at the time, or she still is my best friend. She said Sadie Lou. And so it's stuck ever since. So everything that like my email address is Sadie Lou. My Hotmail my Facebook is Sadie Lou. So it's
mystery solved.
It's stuck.
Just a few more here. Why would your husband Jamie say he likes you?
Why he liked me?
Yeah,
because I'm very knowledgeable about the game of hockey, so he has something in common to discuss.
All right. Do you think it's kind of cheeky for a linesman to be wheeling the trainer during a game?
Wheeling the trainer? Oh, hello.
Eva must know. The people want to know.
Yes, the people want to know. Yeah.
Okay. No comment. All right. What was your pregame meal at the engine room?
My pregame meal? Well, the engine room, potato skins and chicken fingers are always really good there.
Okay. Did you think Steve Yzerman was hot when you were younger?
No, not really.
Oh, I did. Who was your favorite player growing up?
Who was my favorite player?
Yeah, like pro player.
I think when I was younger, probably Wayne Gretzky, just because he was the big guy or whatever, the big scorer that he was. Yeah. I think most kids at that time, Wayne Gretzky was their. He was Wayne. Yeah,
he was Wayne Gretzky.
We talked a little bit about how people were obsessed with Wayne Gretzky on the last episode. So I think you're safe to say Wayne Gretzky.
Well, I think it's a Canadian thing, right? He was the best.
For sure.
Okay, last then, what would be the pros and cons of being a trainer on a team your son played for?
Pros, I could keep an eye on him, I guess, but not that I ever needed to do that because he was a good kid. So, cons, that as a parent, you want your kid to be able to go and do his thing without having to be there all the time. So I don't think he would be very happy.
Okay.
With me being there. So
That makes a lot of sense to me. All right, Sandra. Well, you've done pretty well. That is your one-timers. Thank you very much for doing that. I know it could be a little stressful putting them out here and you're calling out people. Oh my God! But that's great. Okay, I've got a couple of things just to bring us home here.
Sure.
So what is your involvement in hockey these days? Like, obviously, you're following your son's career. And is there anything else you're paying attention to around? Do you go to the Bearcats games at all? Do you do anything in hockey?
I've been to a couple Bearcats games with my dad because my dad still lives in Truro. So I've gone to a couple games with him in the last couple of years. And again, we were big Mooseheads fans while Jared played. So, but, since COVID, obviously there hasn't been a whole lot of hockey to go watch. So, we watch the NHL Network and have Detroit on, and we watch their games pretty well all the time. But as far as going to hockey, we haven't been to any hockey, again, because of COVID. But after Jared left Cole Harbour, we'd go and watch them a couple of times because we still knew some of the kids that played for Cole Harbour. But since then we haven't been to any hockey since last year when he was in Moncton. So.
Okay. Does Jamie still officiate then? That sounds like
no.
He sounds like a no.
He hasn't for a year. Yeah, he stopped actually when Jared started to get pretty heavy into hockey. So he hasn't officiated. He keeps talking all the time about maybe going back to doing it just for, just to get it out on his wheels. But, he hasn't done that yet. But maybe when he retires from work, he might. So
yeah. Why not? So I guess a couple real, like, the final kind of questions. What have you kind of learned through your hockey experience, both as a trainer, an official's girlfriend, and as a mom?
What have I learned?
Or what do you take from hockey?
The hockey world is actually, it's a big world, but it's really, it's a small world. It's a great, I think sports in general are a great way to meet people, and they're a great way to, build friendships, when you're involved with sports. And I mean, not just sports, but, any kind of activity. So, I think we've been very fortunate, like I said before, that we're able to make the friends that we have. So, it's a great sport, and it's been good to us. And I mean, I can't say anything.
Right. Good to you. Good to us. Good God. Yeah. What are you looking forward to in the next chapter and beyond, Sandra? Just what are you really excited about? I mean, should seem obvious, but yeah.
Jared's going to be starting hopefully his professional career. So I'm really looking forward to, I've never been to a professional hockey game. So it'll be nice my first professional hockey game will be, going to see, hopefully to see Jared play in the NHL and maybe in the AHL if he plays there beforehand. So that'll be really nice. So.
Wow, well, you've been around some pretty big environments in these World Juniors and all that, but no, not a program. That's something. Go ahead, Josh.
No, just that's exciting.
Okay, I thought you had something. Okay, I thought you had something. Sandra, is there anything else that I didn't ask that you would have wished I asked or I missed or something that you would like to bring up before we get off?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you've touched pretty well a lot of topics. So.
All right, then. I'm going to ask listeners here to please share this interview, get in the comments section, ask questions, share your stories. It's always really a lot of fun to hear from people, even if it's only a quick shout out that you're there, right? So it's encouraging to Josh and I making these shows. And of course, the guests always love to hear from people. So I'm sure Sandra wants to hear somebody say, hey, Sandra, this and that. So get in there and say something. And Sandra, I want to say here too, I didn't mention, but I was sorry to hear of your mom's passing there. I did say to you there, but I didn't really get to say in person. So, like this. So from Josh and I, we offer our sincere condolences. We understand that, how much it means to even get a word from somebody. So I'll at least give you that here.
We've had, so many nice phone calls and people dropping by and, nice cards in the mail. And we had quite a few people make some really nice donations to different charity. So it's been nice. And, but thank you very much for
to you and Harold and Dale and, of course, your whole family as well. But I don't want to, bring us down just before we're going out here. I do want to highlight that, it's just, really, the highlight here is that it's been really great catching up, really like fun to just see you. Just see you is very exciting. And I'm just so great to see, everybody's doing so well, it seems to me. And in particular, in your case, lots of excitement going on. And I just love hearing it. So I'm, congratulations and good luck going forward to you and the fam.
Thank you. Thank you. It was really super nice to talk to you guys. And, like you said, hopefully hopefully the group can get together maybe in another, it was 20 years then. So maybe.
Yeah, I got to get to that thing. I missed out so bad.
I think you were the only one that wasn't there.
Yeah, no. I got on a little Zoom Skype call or something. Josh had me on the video for a little bit, but it was... Yeah. I was jealous of that for sure.
It was such a great day. Yeah,
it was. It was a lot of fun.
Well, great. Well, here's another good example of someone. I say praise be to hockey and the good people in it. And everybody will see you guys next time.
All right. Thanks, guys. I put that up just for you.
Oh, yeah. Looking good. It's a good looking set.
That is a Josh Boulton goal.